It's the playoff edition of the Hoof podcast. Thank you for joining us on this Friday wildcard edition. What's going on, guys?
Well, ready to go, baby. It's playoff time. I'm excited, man. Can't wait for this game.
Yeah, I think the sleepless nights are going to start tonight because we all know how that goes. And then the nerves. Like, there's so much abuse that we've taken as Bills fans when it comes to big moments. I know this team is different, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't there.
There's still that pit of the stomach feeling like, oh my God, even though this team is so good, are we going to get let down again for some reason? Even though this matchup, like we're going to get into, is completely favorable to the Bills, and sounds like we should win it in every which way, but as Bills fans, you're right. We still get that pit of the stomach feeling.
Yeah, for sure, especially after last year's loss. You know, it's been 1 year since that, and then let's not forget about Jacksonville. No touchdowns, so wildcard weekend has not been favorable for the Bills. And, you know, I don't like being up first either. The Bills draw the 1 o'clock slot on Saturday.
Right.
I'm not a fan of that. I was hoping to get a night game so, you know, adjust, get ready. But no, up first. And so we'll have our result while we watch all the other games, whether good or bad.
They're going to have to worry about us after this, so hopefully we set the tone.
All right, so yeah, the first time the Colts and Bills play in the postseason will be this weekend. I thought that was crazy because both teams have had successful histories and all this stuff, but this is the first time they've ever played in the postseason.
Yeah, I guess that makes a little bit of sense. You think of the 90s era when the Bills were dominating. They were in the same division as the Colts, so the Colts probably didn't make the playoffs that much then. And then when the Colts had Peyton Manning, well, obviously the Bills were in the drought years, so we didn't quite match up on the same wavelengths to interact in the playoffs, I guess.
All right, so we got a jam-packed show. It's going to be all Colts all night for the next hour, and we're going to get you ready. How about we start with 5 for 5?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I'll tell you right now, we finished the season on a hell of a strong note. Couldn't believe how well the picks went this year. On Tally's site, I finished in, I think it was 23 out of about 800 people in the nation on picks against the spread. So that's pretty damn good, and we won some money this year. So let's keep the ball rolling with the wild card weekend. There's 6 games. I'll give you my picks in the order I like them. Number 1 is the Buffalo Bills. They're the best team playing football right now. I think there's -6.5. Bills -6.5 at Indy. I like that line too much for that one not to be my first pick. The second pick, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans getting 3.5 points at Baltimore. I think we all agreed that this game will be close, but with Tennessee getting 3.5 points, I think that's just too much to resist picking Tennessee with the points. My third pick, I'm going to go with the Steelers -6 points. Again, you brought up, Eric, the COVID situation. I just think the Steelers can get it done against the Browns. I didn't trust the Browns to begin with. Now they're minus a lot of key guys. I'm taking the Steelers -6. The fourth pick, I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints -10. I think they're going to win the game. It's just a matter of can they do it by 10. I definitely think so. So I'm taking the Saints -10. My fifth pick is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Rams could stay in this game, but the Seahawks -3.5. I think, again, they're going to have the edge. They'll win it. So Seattle -3.5 is my fifth pick, and that leaves, obviously, the last game. I'm actually taking the Washington football team +8.5 in this game. I just don't think that the Bucs are going to run away with this one. The football team's been playing good defense. Obviously, I picked the Bucs to win, but by less than 8.5 points. So those are my 6 wild card game picks. I'll keep doing it as we go with the lines. Let's go Buffalo, baby. They're my big bet of the week this week.
All right, yeah, and I certainly think outside of the Bills game, obviously, that Ravens-Titans game will be so fun to watch. I think that's the best matchup of the games, scheduled. I think it'll be a close game.
I like it.
I don't know which game, who could win that one. I mean, it could go either way. It's literally 50-50.
Sure. That's why I think 3.5 point line is just too much. Because one team might win by a field goal or even just a point. So I'll take the points there.
You're going to say something, Sterling? What do you got?
Yeah, I like Anthony's mindset when it comes to that Tennessee pick that he had going to the AFC Championship game. I mean, and just real quick before we continue on, but that Tennessee recipe for success works. I mean, a lot of play action, run the ball, try to play solid defense, and that usually fares well in the playoffs. I mean,
the last few games, their defense has kind of been letting them down.
Yeah,
I think that's what scares me more.
It has, but they got some guys up front that can really disrupt offensive lines. So
certainly,
Tennessee would be one to look out for.
Yeah, certainly, and the Ravens are hot right now. I mean, if they win, they could be the hot team. Just seeing them go to Kansas City is likely, and I don't think they can go shot for shot with the Chiefs. But I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that, if things go the right way, the Ravens could knock off the Chiefs. Just not likely. All right, let's get into these Colts. It is wild card weekend, and we'll kick it off with Insight by me. All right, let's get it going. Starting with this Colts offense, everything goes through the quarterback, and that's Phillip Rivers. Since LaDainian Tomlinson left the Chargers in 2009, Phillip Rivers has appeared in 4 playoff games, 2 wild cards, which he has won both, 2 divisional round games in which he has lost both. In those games, when he throws for less than 200 passing yards, he wins. When he throws for more than 200 passing yards, he has lost. Significant? I don't really know. It could be a coincidence, but I will say it's difficult to find a significant statistical difference from Phillip Rivers in Indianapolis versus his last 2 years with the LA Chargers. Except for one particular stat, average completed air yards. This measures the yards between the line of scrimmage and the receiver on a completed pass. When Rivers was in LA with the Chargers, he had a completed air yard average of 6.3 yards in 2018, 6.2 yards in 2019. If you compare those numbers to this year, it puts him in the realm with Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson, on how far the ball travels. This season, he's at 5.3 yards, which puts him with Mitch Trubisky and Tua Tagovailoa. 2 guys who are schemed down to protect the football. And I think it's fair to say that it really doesn't have anything to do with Phillip Rivers himself, more with Frank Reich and the scheme of the Colts offense. Colts pass the ball 55% of the time. It's the 8th lowest pass percentage when it comes down to play calling in the league. Additionally, in the past 7 games, 65% of pass completions by Phillip Rivers are at 5 yards or less. What's the point? The point is the Colts don't need Phillip Rivers to do a ton in this offense because it's primarily a run-first, screenplay, dump-it-off style offense. You can see that with run-first. Jonathan Taylor finishes 3rd in the league in total rushing yards, only behind Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. The team likes to screen plays, they like to dump it off, and you can see that in the yards after catch. With Wilkins and Hines, the other 2 running backs on this team, they have had the highest yards after catch of the past 3 seasons, and I think that's Frank Reich and bringing in Phillip Rivers to dump it off, get these running backs involved. To add on to that, the receivers have statistical lows of the last 3 seasons in yards after catch, and that includes T.Y. Hilton with his lowest. All right, so let's get into this Colts team. Gave you some good tips there on the offense. How about this Colts offense up against the Buffalo defense? Sterling, what do you got for us?
Well, so just watching some of the Colts game film, they're a good offense if their foundation is running the ball. I mean, they have a really good offensive line to be worried about, and that's spearheaded with the likes of Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson are playing really well. Mark Glowinski's having a decent year. So, they're really solid right in the middle, and it only makes things a lot easier for Jonathan Taylor, who's having a great year for a rookie. I mean, early on in the season, he was averaging maybe like 3 yards a carry or so, but as of late, not just these 6 games, but he's been doing a really good job of finding the hole, being patient, his vision. He's kind of been adjusting to that from that Big Ten style of offense where, you have really good offensive linemen all the time at Wisconsin to the NFL where those holes kind of close up a lot quicker. So they're deadly in the run game. And then on top of that, when you add in the speed of Nyheim Hines, and both of these guys are pretty fast, but you're going to see Nyheim Hines, in the screen game a lot. So when you see him on the field, you need to be ready for the screen. Jonathan Taylor, he's deadly when his jump cut is out of this world. I mean, his jump cut, he is breaking people off, and it's leading to big time runs over 50 yards. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a playmaker in his own right. But when you look at this passing offense, Phillip Rivers, they look for him to get the ball out quick. This is a Frank Reich offense that with getting the ball out, you're going to see drag routes. They use a lot of levels concepts, those in routes. They use mesh. So, and screens, those are the primary route combinations that you're going to see from this Colts offense. And so they're a middle of the pack offense, I'd say, right? They need everything going well for them to be dynamic. If you take away the run, then it's over. I mean, that means that you're relying on Phillip Rivers to carry your offense, and he's not that guy anymore. So they definitely need Jonathan Taylor in that run game to make things happen. But I tell you what, if the Colts are going to make a big dent in the pass game, it's going to be on screens. The Bills, we don't defend the screen pass very well, in my opinion. Because, it's a lot of tackles in space. And I still think that's an area of weakness for this Bills team is tackling in space. So if they're going to make any hay outside of running the ball, it's going to be in the screen game. And that's where you have to look at Nyheim Hines as the culprit to break some big time gains. So outside, you're going to have Michael Pittman. I think they're going to try to use T.Y. Hilton more in the slot. So you're going to see Michael Pittman and probably Zach Pascal on the outside. But, Pittman's a rookie. He's been having a decent year. Pascal's been playing. He's getting the job done as a serviceable number 2 wide receiver. And then you're going to see T.Y. Hilton in the slot. So, we don't know if the Bills are going to have Trey White trail him or not. But he wants to get the ball out quick. He definitely wants to get the ball out quick. Like I said, they're using those levels and mesh concepts to free up the passing game. So those are the kind of things I see from this Colts offense.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I think, obviously, the focus is going to be on that run game. They do have a good offensive line, as you mentioned, one of the best this year in football. And their running back has certainly turned it on the last few weeks. Granted, against a little bit more inferior competition than they're going to see in these playoffs and against this Bills team. But still, the run game is the threat of this team. And those dink and donk passes that Phillip Rivers is capable of doing, very similar to what we saw with Ben Roethlisberger and Pittsburgh, right? That's what they were good at. But the Bills were able to shut down that passing game pretty strong. Now, what Pittsburgh didn't have was this dynamic run game and somebody who could really bust out runs with the strength of that offensive line protecting for him. So I think falls on the Bills' defense to then focus their attention on the run and on Taylor. In the beginning of the game, we've seen that this team has the ability to make adjustments. So you come out selling out against the run. We are going to all out against the run. Our guys will go one-on-one against the pass and see what happens. And if that strategy works, then we're going to hold through that all game. Press the line, stop the run, force them into 3rd and long where they're not going to be very successful. At least Phillip Rivers has not been super successful on 3rd and long this year. And force them to pass, which will also favor turnovers for the Bills and getting more pressure on Phillip Rivers, or at least forcing him to get the ball out when he doesn't want to. Again, kind of similar to what we saw with Ben Roethlisberger. Except that if our guys get to Phillip Rivers, he's a little easier to bring down than Big Ben. So I do expect us to get a couple of unexpected sacks in this game. But But yeah, I honestly, come out, sell out against the run. If the dink and donk pass starts to work for them, if they are finding Hilton in the slot or Pittman or the tight ends, whatever it may be, if that starts working, we know that the Bills can say, all right, we're going to adjust to this. Now, if Trey White wasn't going one-on-one with T.Y., maybe that's what they switch to and see if that works. And so far, that's been highly successful for this team. So you come out with the game plan, stop the run no matter what. If they want to pass, let's see if they can do it against our guys one-on-one. Now, the matchup that scares me the most in that case is Levi Wallace against whoever it is that they're throwing their number 2 passes to, right? Pittman or T.Y., whoever happens to be in that position. So we'll see. I expect that Levi will be able to hold up in that situation. Maybe they throw Josh Norman out there a little bit too. But yeah, it's all focused on stopping the run, trusting our guys, doing what they have been doing all along. And by stopping the run, we don't need to shut it down, although that is what they have done this year against more powerful backs. Like, when we faced Henry and the Tennessee Titans, they shut him down. But if we can just hold him to 3.5 yards or less per carry, I think that's getting the job done, because that's really, in order to win, Indy needs to have a dominant performance in the run game. That's the only way I could see them even coming up with an advantage on the Bills, and I just don't see that happening.
Well, Sterling mentioned, this team's middle of the road on offense, and I think that's one of their strengths, is they're a pretty balanced team. I think they can attack you a couple different ways. I mean, the premier backs is obviously the first thing that everyone looks at. The average rushing yards per game for the Colts is 125. It's 11th in the league. But the average passing yards per game, 253, 11th in the league.
Yeah.
They're balanced across the board. There's nothing, outside of their third down percentage, which is 22nd in the league, everything else is top 15.
Right.
They can do a lot of different things. They don't have, huge playmakers outside of Jonathan Taylor. I mean, T.Y., if you want to say that, he's older now. Not the same player he used to be. I think we can all agree. But it's the Phillip Rivers dink and dunk. Everyone's getting the football on this team. There is no primary receiver this year for them. So it just makes it kind of a nightmare to game plan when you don't really know what they're going to do. Obviously, if you're playing the Bills, you're going to target Stephon Diggs. They're going there. This Colts team, the only thing you can really assume safely, I think, is that they're going to try to run Jonathan Taylor, and they're going to throw a lot of screen plays. Outside of that, it's kind of a gamble, right, when you talk about preparation.
Yeah, it is a gamble. It's a gamble. And when you look at, this Bills defense, there's opportunities to be had. I mean, these guys, the Colts are starting a left tackle that's very inexperienced due to injury.
Yeah.
Chaz Green, because Anthony Costanzo's out. So, and last week, just watching the game against the Jaguars, Kayvon Chason was having a day against this guy. And one of the things that's similar to Kayvon Chason and Jerry Hughes is speed. So Jerry Hughes probably has more nuance when it comes to pass rush moves and so forth, because he's a veteran in the league. So there's an advantage to be had there.
Yes.
There is a big-time advantage to be had there against Chaz Green.
I was going to bring up that same advantage, because I think our guys up the middle are going to give those strong offensive linemen for Indy all they can handle, right? I mean, I know we haven't been calling these guys names on the D-line very much, but the fact of the matter is they're still a force to be reckoned with, and they're going to demand attention. So Jerry Hughes is going to be probably one-on-one and maybe even freed up on some of those plays, and he's going to be coming after Phillip Rivers. So I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup, because I think that is going to be the key side that the Bills are going to attack. And again, I think that with the Bills' game plan, we've seen that they know how to make adjustments. So you plan with stop the run, here's how we're going to come out. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll adjust, and here's how. Right? So they come out with their plan. I think they can put them away on defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if they come out and they, Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier are I hate to say this, but they're becoming very Belichickian. And what I mean is they're going to take away what you do best. And if your thing is running the ball, I think they're going to take it away. Look at Derrick Henry. He didn't have the best day against the Bills. They played very well. Now, they did give up, their run fits weren't as disciplined because Ryan Tannehill can run with the ball. But as far as containing, their goal was to contain Derrick Henry. Look at the San Francisco game. Raheem Mostert was back. They shut him down, right? They shut down Jacobs from Oakland. So when they set their mind to stopping one thing you do best, they've been successful doing that. So I don't think this will be any different.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's kind of like, go ahead, try and beat us with the pass, right? If you think Phillip Rivers can beat our pass defense with the pass, we're going to let you do it, or at least try, because that definitely favors. That's the weaker part of their offense and the stronger part of our defense.
Yeah, the Bills' defense has nobody on the injury list. The Colts' offense, Phillip Rivers on the injury list with a toe. He's full participation the last 2 days. Did not practice on Tuesday. And Jonathan Taylor, who's been limited all week with a shoulder. Two huge names that jump out off the Colts injury list.
Obviously, they're expected to play.
Yes, they will play.
They're limiting them. They're being careful with them.
But, I mean, injuries can linger, right? It can affect performance, we hope. And, Jonathan Taylor's been the workhorse for that team. Finished the league, third in yards, only behind Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. So he's been the workhorse, and it wears on you. But, he'll definitely play, and he'll definitely be an impact for that offense. All right, let's flip it over. Let's go Buffalo offense versus Colts defense. We need a lot from Josh Allen. I know he's hungry. I think it starts there. What do you guys think?
So when you look at, so the Bills, in my opinion, in this game, there's not much. You don't really have to change anything. The Bills have an identity, and that's passing the ball. And again, I'm going to reference last week because this is current. This is what we have, but it's been a trend all year. So. Now, get this. Mike Glennon was the quarterback last week, and they used a lot of crossers and slants to free guys open because Indy plays a lot of cover one, and it's almost the same exact defense that San Francisco uses, right? So you're going to see a lot of cover one concepts. You're going to see probably 7 guys at the line, and then all of a sudden, you're going to see guys drop back into coverage. You're going to see Darius Leonard. He's going to blitz the A-gap. He had a big-time sack on Mike Glennon last week that caused a fumble straight through the A-gap. So, it's to be quite honest, it's very basic. The defensive, they don't show you a lot of looks defensively. And I think that's a problem because Josh Allen has shown to adapt and overcome to whatever the defense is doing. I mean, look at last week against the Miami Dolphins. They kind of, the Dolphins that was a quote-unquote one of the best defenses in the league, right? And so they had Josh Allen in the offense hemmed up in the first quarter. Then all of a sudden they made adjustments, and here we go, open the floodgates. So I think there's some big-time opportunities for the Bills to capitalize on this Colts defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pointed out some key things. When I think about this, the Bills' offense just has to keep doing what they do, and what they do well is run or pass. And what the defense of Indy does best is stop the run. So again, that heavily favors the Buffalo Bills. What we do best and what you do best is completely opposite. So our best is going to top your best because we're not going to run the ball much in this game if we don't need to. Right? So as long as Josh Allen's efficient and keeps doing what he's doing, they put up points. That's all they need to do and put it in the hands of the defense and say, do your thing. It's really just more of the same. The one thing that comes out to me with this team on defense for Indy is who's the best player on their defense. I'd have to say it's DeForest Buckner. That's the one guy I would look out for, and he's questionable for this game now. He was a limited participant in practice today, Thursday night. So we'll see what that means for his game status on Saturday. But even he is not one of those overarching big-name threats. This is what I've been preaching all year, these past at least 6 weeks or so. Every time the Bills have gone against a top defense, they've shut them down. They've said, our offense is better than your good defense, period. And not just better, more dominant. We make you look bad. We make you look average. And for Josh Allen specifically, I'm looking at the cornerback situation for Indy as well. because we know they have Xavier Rhodes, who's had a pretty good season and is, a good cornerback by any means. But even if he's one-on-one with Diggs, Diggs is still going to get his against a guy like that. And then you have to deal with Brown and Beasley going against the likes of guys I've never heard of before at cornerback, right? So, who is the cornerback 2 for Indy playing in this game? I have no idea who's starting at CB2 for Indy. They've had some injuries at the cornerback position. They've had some injuries at the safety position. So that backfield, just like we were saying, again, I feel like it's deja vu when we were talking about games against good defenses like San Francisco and Pittsburgh and go on through the list. These cornerbacks are going to be attacked in this game. Attacked and embarrassed by the likes of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Cole Beasley. We should note that both Diggs and Beasley are questionable. It's almost 100% that Diggs is playing. We know that much. Beasley was at practice today, but we still don't know. He's questionable. We don't know the full story there yet. They're still saying he's week to week. I think if he's ready to go, you play him because he could be an X factor in this game for you as well. The Bills' offense, I think, is just going to keep doing what they've done the last 6 weeks, and that's steamroll. Embarrass these teams. Keep scoring points. Put up points. Rack them up as you go along and make it look easy.
Yeah, I think the key for the game for me is third downs, right? The Bills are the best team in the league and third down percentage. It's 50%, right? 49.7. The Colts, on the other hand, are 22nd in the league at 40%. I think that's the difference. The Bills have got to convert on third down. The Colts are going to drop a few, and you got to take advantage of those opportunities, right? Treat the fourth down punts like a turnover and capitalize on that. And obviously, you win the game if you can do that. And I think that starts with stopping the run, like we talked about. But for the offense in particular, those third downs are going to be so important, in my opinion. What else we got here? Points per game. Colts are averaging 28. Bills are now finished the season at second in the league at 31. Look, this Colts team does put up points, so I think we have the upper hand as far as matchups with receivers. I think, you look at some of these stats, what opponents are averaging versus the Colts. Most game plans, throughout the season were probably passing game plans, right? Because opponents are only averaging 90 yards a game rushing versus the Colts. And I think I think all the teams have been attacking, or, a lot of teams have been playing from behind as well, because, the Colts offense is putting up points. So, look, nobody's better in the league than the Bills right now at just straight up going shot for shot with teams and defeating them. And they make one mistake, the Bills have been capitalizing on that,
Yeah, and this Bills defense is, I'm telling you, man, we're third in takeaways now? The Bills have been getting after it, and they're peaking at the right time. So I agree with your saying there, Eric. It's a big time, and I think there's opportunities to be had against this offense.
All right, what else we got?
Oh, and real quick, I don't know if you guys have checked out stats from Phillip Rivers in playoff games, but let me drop a little something for you guys to look at. So, games against cold weather teams, away games, okay? So in 2007, Phillip Rivers faced off against the Patriots. They lost 21-12. Phillip Rivers didn't have a good game. He had 51% completion percentage in that game. In 2008, they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-24. He had a 60% completion percentage. Now, I know completion percentage is everything, but here we go. Let's see. In Denver, they lost in 2013, 17-24. He had a 66% completion percentage. They did lose the game, but it was garbage time, and he only had 217 yards passing. And then I looked at the most recent. So they played the Ravens in 2018. And they beat the Ravens 23-17, but Lamar Jackson was a rookie. He had a horrible game. They won 23-17. But the thing that I want to point out is that at New England last year, 49% completion percentage. He did have 331 yards, but as we all know, the Patriots won 41-28, and it was a blowout, so that's garbage time. I say all that to say, Phillip Rivers is coming to Buffalo, And we know it's going to be cold, and we know that there is lots of wind in that stadium. And that is a factor that's going to play into this game on Saturday. Can Phillip Rivers adjust and make plays? And I just don't think that he can.
Right. I mean, the weather is definitely going to be a factor just because it's outside, right? He's been having the luxury of playing indoors with Indy. Now he's got to play outdoors in Buffalo. It's supposed to be a fairly nice day, at least right now, right? 30 degrees and partly cloudy or whatever. So that's not too bad, but that's Buffalo weather. So that 30 degrees is colder than you think. And we don't know what the wind situation is going to be because even a little bit of a breeze there can make it a hell of a lot colder with the wind chill, especially in the stadium. So, yeah, I expect that to be a big factor going against Phillip Rivers. That weather, man, he just is bad. Outside, even this year, he's been bad. Any game outdoors, even when it was still warm out. So, yeah, Phillip Rivers, again, if I had to choose on defense, I'd imagine this is what they're saying in the coaching room. Let them pass on us and see what they can do because it'll force turnovers. We'll get to the quarterback. It's going to work in our favor if they have to pass the ball. And if we go up by enough points, they're going to be forced to pass the ball, which, again, works in our favor. That's why I just think this whole matchup right now favors the Bills.
See, I worry, though, because I think there is some urgency from Phillip Rivers, from Frank Reich. This might be Rivers' last game. Right? A lot of people are talking, Week 17 might have been his last game. And after that poor performance in Foxborough, his most recent playoff appearance, everyone's saying the same thing, right? He sucks in cold weather. It's this, it's that. He can't get it done. He gets blown out in the playoffs, but that stuff's got to be bugging him, and, got to be careful with that stuff, right? The final ride, right? And the teams can rally around that. So just, he doesn't have to do a lot in this offense to succeed, I feel like. And that's kind of been the story of the Colts all year long. And, we'll see. I think that with these running backs, I mean, this is not a pushover team. Right? I said that about Miami last week, but I mean, it's playoff time now, right? And speed goes up.
That's true. Anything can happen in the playoffs. It's a totally new season, but again, momentum is definitely in the factor of the Bills. We're playing at home. That's a factor for the Bills. It's the Bills' game to win.
We did this last year, first time. We're gonna have a little bet. Sterling, Anthony, and I. We will all pick our brackets since it is headed into the playoffs. No teams have played yet. And so we'll pick each team, and then each win will be a point, and at the end we'll tally it up, and we will make a wager. So, to get through and get started, Sterling, you're going to go up first.
So, all right. So we're doing our bracket, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
simple as this.
Okay.
Who wins?
I'm
Colts,
going
Bills.
with the Bills.
Bills. Okay. Hold on.
Yep.
Ravens, Titans.
I'll go with the Ravens.
Ravens are the 5 seed, Titans the 4 seed.
Yep.
Browns go to Pittsburgh. Who you got?
Pittsburgh.
Pitt. And let's go to the NFC now. The Rams and Seahawks.
Seahawks.
And then the Bears and Saints.
The Saints for sure.
Saints for sure. And then the Bucks and the football team.
Tampa.
Tampa.
I mean, it doesn't get much easier in the NFC.
All right, so then you have Buffalo on one side as the 2 seed going to the divisional round. You will have the 5 seed Ravens taking on the Chiefs. That'll be a great one, Ravens. And then the Bills matchup will be Pittsburgh in Buffalo.
Yeah. Well, Bills. So, Bills there.
Okay, so you got Bills over Steelers.
Yep. Chiefs over Ravens.
Chiefs over the Ravens. It's almost predictable.
I mean, it's basic.
So then, out of Chiefs and Bills, who's the Super Bowl pick for you?
Oh, I mean, Bills. I mean, I at this point, I have to go homer here. I mean, I really do think the Bills can win, but I'm not picking the Chiefs, no matter what.
So you got the Bills representing the AFC, let's go over to the NFC. And you had Seattle at the 3 seed. And you had the Saints as the 2 seed. So Seattle will take on the Saints in your bracket. And then you had Tampa. They will travel to New Orleans for the third.
The Packers.
You mean Green Bay?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Green Bay. That's what I meant.
Yeah. So I'll take the Saints over the Seahawks. And then I'll take the Packers.
The Pack.
Over the Bucks. There's no freaking way I'm going to pick Tom Brady to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
God, no.
Hell would have to freeze over, literally.
Oh, man. So you got Packers, Bucks, and then you pick the Packers to go to the Super Bowl to take on the Bills, correct?
Yep.
And obviously we know where that's going.
Yeah, we already know where that's going.
All right, so Bills, Packers, you got the Bills going all the way. I don't even know what to do with myself over that.
Yeah, and the Bills will beat the Packers. I'm telling you.
Okay. Anthony.
All right, well,
let's go.
You should know what I'm about to say.
Colts,
Hell yeah, dude. I already know.
This is going to sound very similar to what I said 18 weeks ago in the preseason when I was the only one of us 3 to say that the Bills are going to win it all. And the fact that the team I even picked them to play is still in it. So, yeah, obviously I'm going Bills.
Bills
against
over
Indy.
Colts.
Yes.
They got the Ravens and Titans.
I'm actually picking the Titans here.
The Titans. Browns and Steelers.
And I'll take the Steelers.
Everybody's similar in that one. That Ravens-Titans game could go either way.
It can. That's why I'm picking Titans.
Let's jump to the NFC. Rams at Seattle.
I'm taking Seattle.
Okay. Bears at Saints.
The Saints.
And Bucks at football team.
Ugh. The Bucks.
Bucks.
I'm not happy about it, obviously. I didn't have them making the playoffs, so.
All right, so you have the Bills. Moving on, another home game. We have the Titans as the 4 seed, and you had the Steelers as the 3 seed. So the Titans go to Kansas City.
Yes.
And the Steelers end up in Buffalo once again.
So obviously I have the Bills beating the Steelers. That should be, we've seen this movie before, and the Steelers just can't compete with the Bills, I don't think. So, especially at our home. So I'll take the Bills there.
Okay.
And believe it or not, on the other side, I'm taking Tennessee. I want to play Kansas City. I want it to be Kansas City, but I don't think it is at this point. I think Tennessee has what it takes to take down Kansas City, who has been looking worse and worse and worse over the last 6 weeks, and then just took 2 weeks off. Is going to have 2 weeks off before they play another game. So I'm definitely going Tennessee there.
Wow.
Tennessee to represent the AFC. Okay, a third Bills home game in the playoffs, the championship game in Buffalo. That would be wild. Let's switch over to the NFC. The Packers and the Bucks in Lambeau.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers there. I think, again, I don't trust the Packers as much, but I don't want to pick the Bucks. They got lucky with the first round win because they were facing the football team. But yeah, I'll take the Packers there.
Got the Packers in that one, and then divisional round again. Saints. The Seahawks travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints.
And I'm taking the Saints here.
So then you have the Pack and the Saints in the championship game. Who you got in Lambeau?
The Saints. And the New Orleans Saints. I think
sticking to your
the
guns.
Best team. Exactly. This is the same thing I said in the preseason. They're both there. They're both going to make it. Buffalo versus the Saints in the Super Bowl. And obviously you know that my pick to win that game is the Buffalo Bills.
See, I should have went first because I'm going to pick the Colts. I'm kidding.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
we know you might not pick us to go all the way, but if you would have picked the Colts, I really would have been livid.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. He's struggling over there.
Dude, the disappointment, though. I mean, how hyped were we last year when the Bills got up 16 points?
Right.
I was so hyped. Anyway.
When your team is in it, you got to pick them.
Exactly. So we're going Bills there. Let's go Ravens, Titans. I will take the Ravens. I think they are hot right now. as the 5 seed. Browns, Steelers. With the COVID stuff, I'm going Steelers. I think we're unanimous with the Steelers. Let's go Nfc Rams, Seahawks. Oh man, any update on Jared Goff?
So they still haven't said who's gonna play. I don't think Goff is gonna play.
Yeah, so I'll go Seahawks there. Even if Goff was playing, I mean it's a factor, but I think Russell Wilson. I think Drew Brees last season. I think the team rallies Saints over Bears, and Bucks over football team. So then I have the Bills hosting the Steelers again. And I have the Chiefs hosting the Ravens, which would be a great matchup. So in the NFC, I have the Pack hosting the Bucks. And I have the Saints hosting Seattle. Weary familiar. Okay, so AFC Divisional Round, I'm going Chiefs. And I'm going Bills. I think the Bills match up against the Steelers well. And we'll keep it unanimous there. Let's just move on to the championship, knock that out. I'm going Chiefs for the Super Bowl.
Of course you are. I saw that one coming from a mile away.
I mean, huge accomplishment to get to the championship game. But this Chiefs team's been there. They've done that. They look bored. They've dominated every team. They only lost one game. I mean, so
that's fair. That's fair. But it's hard to win 2 Super Bowls in a row. That's all I'm saying.
And my body cannot handle the emotion of the Bills winning the Super Bowl. So I need a year.
Oh my
Just
God.
space it out, man.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, and let's go NFC. I will go, Packers over Bucks. I think this is the Packers' year, finally. And I'm going Seattle over the Saints. And then the Super Bowl, I'm going Seattle.
All right.
Versus the Chiefs. And I will take the Chiefs to win it all.
Back to back.
Until you show me otherwise, I think the Chiefs are still the best team in the league.
Fair enough.
And if I'm wrong, I'd love to pay you. If the Bills win the Super Bowl, I'm going to love giving you guys that money.
There we go.
So, we are documented. It's booked. We can now move on. All right, anyway. TJ Carey gets a start for Rocky Sin. Rocky Sin is out. We did our bold predictions on the Tuesday show. You can check those out. Everything is uploaded. Go back, listen. We did talk Colts for good out or the final portion of the hour. So be sure to check that out. You can check out our reaction next Tuesday, 9 p.m. on all the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Check out our reaction to the game and the results, and we will be talking divisional round moving forward.
And we have a special guest joining us for the Tuesday live show, Bruce Nolan from the Bruce Exclusive podcast on Buffalo Rumblings. We've been wanting to have him on the show for a long time. Been a big fan of his, been following and always listening to his stuff, but happy that he's going to be able to join us on Tuesday night. So definitely tune in for that one.
Cool. And we will see you this weekend. Go Bills.
Go Bills.